what's up? We're talking about some serious-ish today. My name's Dr. Nima. Hello, for those of you who are tuning in on replay. What's up? Has come up quite a bit lately in my client calls. And whenever something comes up as a pattern, I think, okay, I got to share this with the world and give some insights so that you yourself can shift your perspective and then take action, which is inspired rather than reaction, which is what you. And so for those of you who haven't met me before, my name's Dr. Nima Ramani. I am a chiropractor who has transitioned into becoming a full-time mental optimization coach, emotional mastery coach, and personal development guy, really, teacher, because of the fact that I was frustrated with the awareness that every time a patient was coming underlying disorder, and I could only take them so far with the chiropractic adjustments, removing the stress from the nervous system. What about the disconnection in their gratitude, in their feelings of fair exchange, in their relationship, their purpose? Hey, Mark Von Muser, what is up, brother? I just wanted to acknowledge somebody for a moment here. Mark Von Muser is probably one of the greatest mindset coaches in the business. And I owe a lot of my region for the past few months to his guidance and his friendship now. Is one of those amazing experiences when you hire a mentor and then you guys end up becoming friends. Mark's definitely not that one yet. I don't find him a friend at all. In fact, he's quite a bit. I just want to really focus on the positive here. So thank you, Mark. I love you, brother. We're talking about relationship breakdowns. We're talking about stress. We're talking about anxiety and depression, the two go. And rather than seeing it, I love you too. Rather than seeing your depression and anxiety as a disorder, I want to invite you to start looking at things completely differently, because by labeling it as a disorder that's a chemical imbalance, I know this is very controversial, but I'm going to just say it because I now have the certainty, and my certainty exceeds anyone's doubts, because I've been able to help people transition out of a chemical-induced state of anxiety and depression, gradually go off of their medications because they change their story. And most stories that we have to do with the underlying belief that you are not good enough, not worthy of love, because of a story that you've made up about mom and dad, because dad left, mom left, because there was a breakdown in the relationship between dad and mom. Dad cheated on your mom cheated on dad, mom and dad got a divorce, so therefore you turned around and made it all about you being inadequate. And that was the belief that was kind of ingrained in your mind, and you have this story that I was never good enough for mom and dad. And then all of a sudden, because of these beliefs repeated over and over and over again, because of the primitive relationships in your life, then lo and behold, you now have created an environment, and all you see is an inadequacy about yourself based on an entire story from your past. You keep reliving it. Seek and you shall find. And if you seek evidence that you're unworthy and inadequate, I guarantee you can find it in your environment. I mean, hard to believe, but if I were to look carefully enough, I would see inadequacy, I would see not good enough, unworthiness, if I chose to look at it. So consider that your story about depression, your story about anxiety, this whole chemical imbalance, all of this stuff that you have going on is a story. It is not actually true. And for you to heal from it, we need to shift that perspective. And I get to coach some amazing people all around the world who come to me stuck because of relationship breakdowns. And I want you to think of the last relationship be going through. Perhaps you're in a transition. Perhaps you have gone through a breakup. Perhaps you're on the fence and you're like, should I stay? Should I go? What the heck's going on? You a lot of angst. You live in a world of, I'm not certain, I'm inadequate, I'm not worthy of love, I'm not lovable. And by living in that world, guess what you see every single day? So I'm going to invite you to kind of look and see who is it that you have a relationship breakdown with. And I'm perspective so that afterwards you now know exactly what action steps that you can take to completely change and dissolve the situation. So I made some notes and I wanted to share that with you. And the first thing that I want to share in this whole journey is, number one, you and your partner or the relationship, whether your father or whatever breakdown going on, created this breakdown. Both of you are beings. In fact, you have a light side and you have a dark side. You have a saint and you have a sinner. You have a positive, nurturing side and you have a complete asshole bitch side to you. Yes, it's true. I get it. There's part of all of us that kind of follows. Really get that you are a two-sided being, and so is that person that you've had a breakdown with. And that person has their own fears, they have their own triggers, they have their own story of inadequacy going on that you might be subordinate, you might have yourself to. Quite this in my client cases. Whether it's a father, whether it's a spouse, that you've subordinated to their approval. And you're trying to win this war of approval with somebody that you've put up on a pedestal to be a one-sided delusion. So the stream cuts out on the voice. Okay, so let me find a better spot here then, Debbie. Thanks for that feedback. Let me find a little better spot. The lighting might not be as good, but that's okay. So here we go. So hopefully that's a little bit better. All right, and see, check this out. We got love. This is Amanda's pillow there. So here we go. So let's go into this a little bit more. Number one, thanks for that feedback, Deb. It's good to see that you're back. It's nice. I miss you guys. Debbie was a former patient of mine back at Westgate Wellness Center when I was working as a chiropractor there in my previous life. So hello, Golnar. Reach out. We gotta chat. So first and foremost that I wanted to share, we're dualistic beings. So you are a saint and a sinner. You are a good person and also a bad person. You have two sides to you. You have one side that's altruistic, that just wants to do good for the world. And then you have another part of you that just wants all the finer things. I get it. I'm the same way. I am not more positive than I am negative. And depending on my perception of the environment, you're going to see my positive altruistic side come up, or based on my perception of my environment at that time and my mindset in that space, in that moment, you will see the narcissistic, ego, disgusting part of me, the dark part of me, which I'm very well aware of, as you have as well, in the other part of the dualistic side of myself. Now, the first delusion that happens whenever we have relationship breakdowns is the first one is the unrealistic expectation that you have on the other person to be a one-sided magnet when they're dualistic beings. In other words, you expect them to always be nice and never mean, to always be supportive and never unsupportive, to always be positive and never challenging. Well, my friends, that's a delusion, because that person who has their own particular set of priorities, values, and what's meaningful in their lives will respond to their environment based on their perceptions. If they perceive what you're saying and doing goes against their priorities, values, and what's most meaningful, then my friends, brothers, sisters, they shouldn't be supportive of you, and they won't be. But when they're not supportive of you and you have the delusion that they should be one-sided, you start to feel this rage. You start to feel betrayal. Start to feel this horrific, this feeling of challenge and anger and aggression and betrayal and criticism and challenge. The ABCDs of negativity, as my mentor John DeMartini states, is created by your unrealistic expectation / delusion that they should be one-sided, supportive, never challenging. And let me give you a little bit of hopefully some insight on this, is that you will never have somebody support you when what you are doing in their perception goes against their values. It's just basic human behavior. Once you remove the delusion that they should be one-sided and supportive, you overcome and you start to learn how to win the war of approval. You start to allow them to challenge you, but then you don't interpret that as you're not good enough. You don't interpret that as you're not worthy of love. And you still love them for who they are because you're honoring their values. When you have a relationship breakdown because of the delusion that they should be supportive of me, take a look at what you're expecting. If it goes against their values, then it's you that's the delusion. You that's the delusional one, which is good news because you can be the cause of the relationship reconnection. Many people who contact me and we do the discovery calls, they are in this, she should be doing this. She should step up. She should be, and I'm just like, listen, dude, you're delusional. If you feel, one of my clients is heavy into resentment for his partner because she should step up. She should understand. She should get me. Well, listen, if what you're saying and doing goes completely contrary to her values and morals and beliefs and what's meaningful to you, then you're delusional if you think that she should understand you. And if you want to bridge the gap between the two of you to help dissolve that depression within the two of you, that heavy energy within the two of you, then my friend, it's on you to be the one to see things from their perspective first and call yourself out on that inauthenticity and be the one that gets vulnerable. So somebody in that breakdown has to choose to be the bigger person, to be vulnerable, okay? And they have to get vulnerable. Thanks, Nicole. Let me know if you guys have any questions. This is all for you guys' benefit because I've seen so many people create depression in their lives because of a delusion. Delusion number one, they should be one-sided. My friends, we all have a darkness, and that darkness gets triggered when we perceive our values are being challenged. All right? Thank you, thank you, thank you. God bless you. We definitely should see things our own way. And your partner will see things their own way as well. So if you actually want there to be a change, hold on one second here. If you want there to be a change in a breakthrough within your relationship, then it's critical for you to remove that delusion that they should be one-sided. So when they show their triggered side, you then are able to take inspired action instead of reacting, which is what most people do. All right. Yeah. Make sure you check the replay. Follow that and check the replay. Okay, so number two, delusion number two is they should prioritize what I prioritize and see things my way and follow my values. So delusion number one is they should be one-sided, not two. And delusion number two is they should see things my way. And when you have two people in a relationship projecting their values on another, well, my friends, I'm sorry, that's going to cause a breakdown. Every single breakdown that I have in my relationship happens when I project my expectations onto my partner and she projects her expectations onto me. We have this huge breakdown, step back, and then you could basically see, oh, okay, I can see that I projected my expectations. Now, you could be wondering, well, should both people be doing the emotional work and doing the work in order to make things reunited? Well, guess what? It is easier. I'm going to admit it is easier. It does make it easier when both parties are committed to doing what it takes to see things the other person's way, but it's not necessary. So if you're committed to being the cause in the matter of transforming the relationship, then it's on you to be able to see things both ways, get vulnerable, call yourself out, and you will be magically surprised how the other person comes around, because when you get vulnerable and share where you've been inauthentic, you just got yourself into a place of power. And that other person has no choice but to take off their mask and open their heart as well. I've seen it happen many, many, many times. Is respecting each other an expectation? Well, good question, Michelle. Good question. Respect is a perception. And if you are finding that your partner isn't, quote unquote, respecting you, chances are you have triggered them in some way. So instead of looking at their way they're treating you as a lack of respect, if you can rise above your need for their respect, and see above that and love them regardless of how they're treating you, and own and take on being the cause in the matter, then you can actually have power to transform them. Michelle, in fact, that's what you and I are going to be working on over the next few months. So I'm glad you asked. You just got started with this. But if you are sitting there constantly subordinating to somebody else's lack of respect and beating yourself up and making that mean you're inadequate when they're speaking to you in a certain way, rather than taking it from another perspective of, wow, I just triggered their old wounds. I'm curious. Instead of getting furious, get into a curiosity state to be the cause of their own transformation. You will be amazed at how much respect you can earn simply by taking on that role yourself. That's what you and I are going to be working on. I promise you, you will get there, guaranteed, if you decide to commit to take on that role. So I'm really proud of you, Michelle. Michelle, who has been working on really becoming the cause in the matter of her own healing, of her transformation in that resentful kind of state in the relationship that's been falling apart. You really can completely transform it. So that's what I'm calling on you to do by removing those two delusions. By the way, Michelle, that's in module 2, the delusion. Number 1, they should be one-sided and they should never be triggered. They should never get angry. Number 2, they should see things my way. When you remove those delusions and really see that they should see things their way, and that when I'm doing and saying certain things, I'm triggering them, but not in a way of subordination, but in a way of curiosity, you now empower yourself to rise above your need for their approval and be the cause of their transformation. It is phenomenal. All right. So, expectations that create conflict. They should be one-sided. They should see things my way and support. Now, here's the last part of this, okay? Great distinction. Thanks, Camilla. God bless you. I look forward to meeting you. Here's the next one. I want to credit my good friend Stephen Gardner for really opening my eyes to this. Stephen and I had a breakdown in our relationship, and he made this incredible discovery. He shared it with me, and it was a huge breakthrough. And now we both use this when we're working with our clients. And I credit this to my good friend, Stephen Gardner. Stephen and I had a huge breakdown in our relationship. He wasn't speaking to me and I wasn't speaking to him. It was nasty because we were the best of friends. We were like brothers. And I perceived that he did something to me that betrayed me. In his perception, I was doing things to him that was taking away from him. So we both had a betrayal story going on about each other. And we had a breakdown in our friendship. And so he wasn't speaking to me. I wasn't speaking to him. And it wasn't until my good brother friend, Robin, reached out to both of us and created a Skype conversation with the two of us that said, all right, the two of you are going to talk. You guys both are coaches. Shame on you for not getting over your shit. And he was absolutely right. But I got to say, I said, all right. So I go up on Skype, and Stephen, I was like, Stephen wasn't showing his face. I'm like, show your video. I want to see your face. And he was kind of scared. So he was running this huge story about me betraying him. I was doing the same about him. And the thing that transformed it was this concept he came up with, is that relationship breakdowns only happen when you perceive a lack of fair exchange. In other words, you feel like you're giving more to the relationship than you're receiving, or you feel that you're receiving more in the relationship than you're giving. In other words, there is a breakdown of fair exchange. Think about it. Think of the breakdown that you had in your friends. Think of the breakdown you had in your relationship dynamics. Every single time it happens because you feel that you gave more than you received. Guaranteed. Breakthrough. So what Stephen did was he sat down and wrote a list of all of the things that I gave him. And he was humbled. Why? Because I gave him a fuck ton. And I did. And I was resentful to him because I was like, you bastard. I am fully aware of what you gave to me. You gave so much. He was my video guy, my friend, my confidant in the darkest moment of my life at the time. And he helped elevate my message to a worldwide stage. Many of you first heard about me through some of the videos on my YouTube channel that were created by his level of mastery. It was beautiful. So he sat down and wrote a list of all of the things that I gave him, and he was humbled and moved to tears. And he reached out to me. He goes, I get it. I get why you're so resentful. I get this. So he shared with me everything that I gave to him, and I was moved to tears. And it forced me into a vulnerable place where I shared with him everything that he gave to me. So just by that one exercise, completely humbled, we got to an even exchange, and I did what I thought was never going to happen again, which Amanda thought wouldn't happen again either, is we started working together again, and we are in the works and planning on creating something massive. And I have this incredible idea to collaborate with him. I just reached out to him like that because the healing power of fair exchange. I really want you to get this. So the breakdown that you have in the relationship that you're having is, you want to ask this question. What is it that they gave me? What did I receive because of that partnership? And get honest. Take off the mask. Get out of your fucking high horse. Stop the bullshit. Your life and your relationship is at stake. Why is your life at stake? Because you live your life through your relationships. And if there's anywhere in this planet, and I tell this to all of my clients when we begin, because I start a 3-month program that's intensive, where we work on healing every relationship breakdown through these powerful tools of shifting perception and restoring integrity. And most of you would be too chicken shit to do this. This is not for everyone. This is for those who are willing to commit and take on getting their lives back. Because any relationship breakdown that you're going through in your life is a breakdown in every area of your life, because we live our lives through our relationships. And if you have a breakdown in relationships, then you have a breakdown in mental health, self-esteem, you have a breakdown in self-confidence and communication, because you're not feeling worthy. I don't care if you think that you're better off without that person. If you are in a situation where you can't even speak, or you are afraid to go into a room if they're going to be there, you've your power, you've given it away, and you are sitting on a huge opportunity to regain your life back, to dissolve the anxiety, to dissolve the depression that you're living with, to help you sleep better at night. Any inauthenticity, any breakdown in your relationships is destroying your health, is destroying your ability to earn an income, destroying your power in communication, in business. So I have made it my business. When I went through my dark period, I made a list of all of the people that I have a relationship breakdown with. So here's what I'm requesting that you do. For those of you who are willing to take this on and be the cause of the transformation in your life and get the power back, is I want you to make a list of all of the relationship breakdowns that you have that are causing this feeling when you think about that person. Just realize that's messing with your life, and that could be the cause of your depression. I'm going to get you to send me a private message. Go ahead, send me a private message. I'm going to do 2 free coaching calls. Make a list of all of those people. I want to do a free coaching call with 2 people. Can I take it a step deeper? What do you mean, can you take it a step deeper? A little bit more specific. Any person that you have that's a breakdown, send it to me. Send me a private message, and we will have a free coaching call to see what's possible for you to be able to be the cause in the matter of its transformation. I'm 2 free coaching calls to those to those willing to step beyond the bridge of fear. Don't private message me if you want to run your little victim story. Those people there's plenty of them. You go to a counselor, go to a shrink, and just repeat your story, that kind of thing. Those are not the ones that actually take on the transformation. The ones that I work with are willing to give responsibility and power to somebody else. But it's not for the faint of heart. It's for those of you who recognize that this relationship breakdown that you can't speak to, that you've lost your power in, lost self-expression in, you want to be the one that's going to be to change it. So send me a private message. You can get it right there. Send me a private message, or share this with somebody who really needs this. I really get this message out there that the depression is probably caused by a breakdown in the relationship, and that you can actually change it. If you're willing to get over the whole chemical imbalance theory, no, it's the chemicals that are creating it, rather than you taking it on and saying, I'm going to be the cause of the change in my own chemistry. And I'm going to actually shift that myself, because you know what? I'm sick of giving away my power, and I want to take it back. So reach out to me. Let's have a conversation and see if actually you could create a strategy for doing that. That's basically who I'm interested in talking to. Just send me a private message and let's see what's possible. So hopefully this was useful to you guys. If you want me to go deeper, let me know. Taking it a step deeper, just going to give a little recap. Basically, is that number one, we're dualistic beings with sets of values, and so is that person that you're with, that you have a breakdown with. And that breakdown could be the cause of depression because you live your life through relationships. And any breakdowns in relationships or lacks of integrity or lack of truth is messing up your financial health, your physical health. It's creating your dark passenger to go through the roof, your addictions, your drinking, your lack of self-care, all of that because of the way that you perceive yourself because of that relationship breakdown. And good news, it can change once we shift the expectations of they should be one-sided and they should see things my way and support me. Complete bullshit, because they're two-sided beings and they get triggered when they perceive their values are not being met. And number two, they got their own fucking values and yours might not be their highest values. And if you want to create a harmonious relationship, it's on you to create a win-win. And you can do that. It can totally transform. I transformed my relationship with my father, my family, everyone, because we all took on really living in the world of seeing things from other people's perspective. It takes mental effort. It takes some guidance. And the last part is that breakdowns happen when we can't see a fair exchange of give and receive. So keep asking, what did I give to them? And what did they give to me? What did I receive, until it's completely balanced? And then the last part, you want to share where you've been inauthentic in the story. Get vulnerable and share where you've been inauthentic. You feel this lightness. I've seen clients of mine. One client who didn't have a relationship with her brother because she told the story that he's an alcoholic, he's abusive, he's this, he's dangerous. We changed that story. She restored integrity with her brother, and then brought the brother into the whole family and was the reunion of the entire family. It was the stand for the entire family. Why? Because she decided to take it on. Another gal who restored that integrity with her mother, and by bringing that, just and when somebody gets ill and depression and anxiety shows very strongly, do you think this could be relationship linked? Abso-friggin-lutely. Ashley, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Ashley, nice to talk to you. It is most of the time, it's depression. The depression is relationship based. You want to ask, when did it show up? And it was often because of a breakdown in relationship or some sort of a trend. And so I'm very, very, very interested in finding out when it began and what conflicts were going on at the time, because you can be the cause of the transformation in the conflict. So for those of you who are, hold on here, I'm just going to write this out here, bepowerfullyaligned.com/apply. Yeah, send me a private message, or just go ahead and schedule yourself in and fill out the form. Let me know what's going on, how the relationship breakdown is impacting your life, but only those of you who are actually wanting to be the cause of its transformation. No victims. Victims need not apply. This is for you if you're like, look, I know I've been running a victim story. It sucks, and I really want to learn how to be the cause of its transformation. So definitely do that to apply, and let me know if I can be of service to you. I'm on a mission to help 1 million people reduce their medications. 1 million, reduced by 50% or greater. And I am convinced, absolutely convinced, that the main reason why depression and anxiety is occurring is because of how we're showing up in relationships, because of past stories of I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy of love, that get triggered. So that gets triggered in you. Guess what? That's getting triggered in your partner as well. And if you can be the cause of elevation of consciousness
And so I'm thinking maybe I am the cause. Well, you definitely are a part in it, and you can, if you are having a challenge, you ask, if you are the cause, you are a part of the equation for sure. And who you're being and how you're showing up in that relationship absolutely impacts them. But it's not on you to fix somebody else, however. It's not on you to fix somebody else. It's for you to use every challenge around you as an opportunity to look within, to elevate. And then here's the cool part. If you take it on, a rising tide lifts all boats. And I've noticed my clients who work on themselves, their kids improve, their spouses improve, their relationships all completely transform because they've decided to look at the world completely differently and committed to taking on their transformation. Because the relationship that's broken down is over. And the only way that you can actually change it is by showing up a different version of you within that relationship. So it's good that that old version is over. If you want to recreate, the whole idea is you want to recreate a new version of that relationship because the old one hopefully is dead. You don't want to go back to the way that it was before. So I'm interested if you want to send me a private message and let's have a conversation. And two people I'm doing a free coaching call with. Why? Because I want to help 1 million people reduce their medication. Already the peeps in my coaching program are definitely decreasing their meds. Hey, Luce. And so I really am inspired by that idea. And so here's what I want you to do. Tag somebody who really needs to hear this conversation and share this with your people in your groups. If you have groups of people, share this. It's shareable. Reason why is because I've made a discovery in that the depression and anxiety that you're going through is often relationship breakdown induced, and which is great news. Is that it's not chemical imbalances, that you can change the chemistry in your brain by doing certain things in a certain way and being a certain person and taking on that role and being committed. And so I want to work with the committed, the ones who are ready to decide and take action because, hey, life is a lot more fun when you're helping people resolve their bullshit. So has this been useful for you? Let me know. Has this been useful? Or do you have any questions? Please join, if you haven't already, I'm going to write this down, The Art of Powerful Alignment. That is the group on Facebook. Go ahead and request to join so that we can continue this conversation if you haven't already. Please send me a private message if you need to talk. If you think that you are wanting to clear out your stuff, go ahead, send me a private message, and I'm offering my spot for two people that are recognizing a pattern, recognizing that there is a common denominator in the entire thing, and that common denominator is them, and I'd love to be of service. This is what I love and what I do best, because showing someone who's been diagnosed with depression that they can be the cause of his transformation is probably the most fulfilling thing that you can do on planet Earth. And so I left my chiropractic practice, full-time chiropractic practice, to teach this full-time, and so now I do the chiropractic stuff on the side and help people as their guide on the side full-time. So, do you have any questions for me? Has this been useful? Are there any questions? I love to share, and if not, God bless you guys. I want to say thank you, and I want to say mad gratitude to my coaches and my team and my clients who've entrusted me and done the work, because to transform that depression, to transform that anxiety, to transform that feeling of ickiness when it comes to a past relationship that's not complete takes courage. And it's only for those willing to cross the bridge of fear in order to find and create their dream. And I love being a stand for those people. For those of you who have done that, have stepped up, God bless you. Please share your stories. The more you share what has transpired with your courage, from your courage, the more you make it possible for other people to do the same. So God bless you, mad love, and I'll see you at the next perfect time.